Riley.
Look like you.
I can't even look at you. Look at Daddy. Who is that? Who is it?
Daddy so bad.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And in this lesson, it's inspired by a video that I came across, and I found it pretty interesting, which is why I titled the lesson what I did. And if I'm able to get the video out, what I'll try to do is just, play it in the beginning, so you can see what I'm referring to here. But pretty much in the video, what you see is a compilation of different instances where you would have a father, basically shave off his beard, and then they would present him to the child or the baby. And in pretty much all those cases, once the baby saw the face of their father, and they just couldn't, pretty much they got scared. They either cried, they were stunned, they didn't like it, they ran away, or they were scared, or whatever the case is. Okay, which when I saw that, I found it pretty spiritual because, at such a young age, as a pretty much like a toddler or infant or whatnot, they were able to, something in their spirit made them feel uncomfortable seeing that. Okay, it's not just by coincidence because it's the same behavior, the same condition and the same results, over and over and over again, showing that there has to be some correlation over there. Okay, and so I want to go into a couple of precepts here, which is, babies being that they were fresh. Remember, when a baby is born, okay, according to the scriptures, what actually happens is not that like a new spirit is created or a new body is formed, by the husband and the wife laying together, all right, and them making that body or that vessel. But ultimately, the spirit that comes into that body is not a new spirit. It's a spirit that's been on the earth before, hence reincarnation. Okay, so every spirit is in the spirit world. And once a vessel gets created for it, at the time of reincarnation, the Lord sends that spirit back into that new body, as a baby. And of course, as a baby, you don't, and the scriptures tell you don't have remembrance of the former things. So when you grow old enough in this body to be able to, comprehend things and all of that, you don't remember what your spirit, what's locked in your spirit, so to speak. But having freshly come from the spirit world, naturally, they have that according to nature, which I'm going to get a precept on that. Naturally, they feel that there's certain things that you just know to do and to not do. Who teaches a baby how to breathe? Who teaches a baby how to do some of these things? There was actually studies done that babies don't learn how to talk from you talking to babies. Okay. But somehow, some way, at some point, they just learn how to talk. That's not something that they learn from you doing goo goo gaga sounds or talking to them and babies saying, "Who's a good baby? Who's a good boy?" That's not what that's not what makes them learn how to talk. Okay, because they did experiments where they went. There are actually places in the world where they don't talk to children or babies at all because they don't believe that talking to babies is how they learn how to talk. And yet in those places, the child gets to a point, a certain age, and then they start talking. Okay, so that's something that's inside your spirit already. I'm going to show you once again. Let me start off with the precept here in the law. Right, this is the book of Leviticus chapter 21 verse 5, because according to the law, you're not supposed to shave off your beard, with the exception of a certain situation, i.e. like mourning or taking a certain vow, and then it ends or something of that sort. Okay, but just on a regular basis, just to go around willingly and shave off your beard, that's not permitted. Okay, so let's go to that real quick. This is the book of Leviticus chapter 21 verse 5. And actually, the way the Most High designed us, there are just certain things that naturally, like these are natural laws. Okay, they're just certain things that naturally it's wrong. Naturally, your conscience, okay, prohibits you from doing it. However, having learned the way of wickedness, or having been taught how to live a wicked lifestyle and doing it for so long, eventually you become accustomed to it. Okay, but it's not right. Anyway, this is Leviticus chapter 21 verse 5. They shall not make baldness upon their head. Right, so you're not supposed to shave your head bald. Okay, neither shall they shave off the corner of their beard, nor make any cuttings in their flesh. And what you'll see is sometimes, especially now today, it's like a style where you have men who, when you have a beard, they'll shave the corners, like under your neck and all that. They'll shave all of that under their chin up to where it's just like a strip following their jawline, and covering their face, of course. But under that, it's all shaved off. You're not supposed to do that. Okay, and when you read it in, I believe, Leviticus 19 and 27, what it says is, neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard. Okay, and when you mar it, you're basically obstructing the path in which the hair grows. And if you notice, when you do this, your hair keeps growing back. It keeps growing back. Pay attention to the different parts of your body that hair grows. When your hair grows back, it always grows in the same place, right? When you get a haircut and your hair grows back, it doesn't grow on top of your forehead or right on your cheek. It grows right back on top of your head. Okay, same thing with the hair in your underarms. You're not gonna see it start growing on your biceps or your triceps. Okay, and same thing with the hair, on your beard. It's not just magically going to start growing, from your traps. There's a certain part that hair grows. And when you mar it, it grows right back. And then you mar it and it grows right back. You got to keep on marring it and it keeps on growing right back. But as we're going into here, so if the Lord says, don't shave off the corners of your beard, then most definitely you're not supposed to shave off your whole beard. So when I saw that video, once again, and the children were basically all given that negative reaction to seeing, because they were used to seeing their fathers with the beard on, there was no problem. But to see that all of a sudden you ain't got no beard, it was just like nah, I'm not with this kind of reaction. But see, if it was even in the reverse, where the pops was growing out the beard, it's different, right? Because the child would see the beard coming in, and then they would know, like, okay, yeah, that's still him. But to see that, naturally, they had that reaction of, nah, like, no, that's not good. That's not nice. I don't like that. Okay. And that's because by nature, it's within their spirit, and as a matter of fact, just like, when you're born, and you grow wherever it is, except for maybe if you're in some like region of the world where cannibalism is normalized. But aside from that, you don't have an appetite for human meat. You're not born just having an appetite for human meat. As a matter of fact, if you smelled somebody cooking human flesh, it would be absolutely disgusting. It would not make you salivate and get hungry. But let it be some fried chicken or some nice roasted lamb or something like that. You smell that and it's a nice, oh, what's that? I want to find out some more about that. Right? So naturally, you know by nature murder is bad. That's why you feel that if when people commit murder, they feel weird. You know, they may go and make music about it and all that as if it's some cool thing to do, you know, but eventually when the demons take over them and they just, you know, they're far gone, then they normalize it. But they you know, it's like a crazy thing on your mind because naturally you know that you're not supposed to do that. So there are just certain laws that by nature it's instilled in your spirit to know, don't do that. It's wrong. And that's why you feel weird when you do it. Okay. So now let's go to the next precept, which I have here, because though these things are against the law and against nature, having been under Esau's rule, it's now the things against the laws of the Heavenly Father have now become normal, you know, in terms of, at least to the world, they've become normalized, but they're still wrong. However, because they disregard, you know, the ways of the Lord and they put that far behind them, they make conventions out of iniquity. Okay, they make delicacies out of abominable foods. They make, you know, they give pedestals to people that defy the ways of the Heavenly Father, and then they demonize, okay, those that try to do what's right. Okay, so and that's the same thing they were doing back then, which is why the Lord brought the destruction that He did back then. This is Genesis chapter 6, verse 5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. See? And so if you give it time, all you got to give it is time, you'll see that the level of evil is going to continue to rise, because that's the pattern that people are in. And they're just going to think of more and more ways to advance in that and to normalize wickedness. That's why, like you're seeing today, it's just more and more shit just coming out. Okay, I saw the lesson that the Elder Manasseh Zakba did, I think either yesterday or the day before. But you know, in the beginning, you see videos of just, and it's always Jake. You know, it's always Jake doing something very stupid. I think one was one of them, there was a woman. It looked like she was pissing in the middle of the street. Another one, you had a woman twerking on a baby, you know, and I forget what I know the other one was like some dude pouring, you know, chocolate milk and cereal on himself in the store, some crazy stuff like that. But I forget what the other one was. Nevertheless, a decade or two ago, people were still doing wicked shit, but it wasn't as outlandish as it is now. See, and it goes to show you that if you keep on, you know, as time goes on, if nothing happens to correct the course of this world, it'll only get worse and worse and worse. If you go back 10 years ago, the music was different. Even though they did sing about shit that wasn't right, it wasn't as bad as it is now. A lot of things that were considered off back in the day, if you look at it, and if you compare those with the things that are considered off now, you'd be like, yo, the world has gotten much, much worse. Okay, and that's why I'm reading Genesis 6 and 5, because it was a similar predicament back then. Their heart was continually, okay, evil. And therefore, the Lord, like it says, verse 6, and it repented the Lord that He made man on the earth, and it grieved Him at His heart. And so the Lord decided to destroy it. Well, why do you think He's going to destroy it again? Because man's heart is continually evil, meaning it won't stop until it is stopped. And now I want to go to the precept that I mentioned earlier, and this is in the book of Romans, the 2nd chapter, right? This is what the Apostle Paul said in Romans 2, verse 14. For it says here, for when the Gentiles, which have not the law. Now here it's speaking about Israelites that were in the Gentile state of mind, right? Israelites that weren't aware that they were Israelites, okay, keeping the heathenistic customs. But even still, it says, for when the Gentiles which have not the law. So let's take an example, right? Let's take, let's go back in time to, maybe we stop at right before the Hasmonean dynasty really came about, when you had the Israelites being persecuted by the Greeks, mainly under Antiochus Epiphanes. You had some Israelites, which I think it was the Hasidians or so, like later on, came to form the, if I'm not mistaken, the Pharisees. But some sects later on came to be formed after, right? But prior to that, you had some that decided to stand firm in the persecution and continue to keep the laws of the Lord and follow those ways and customs. And you had some that conformed to the Greekish fashions. And by doing so, they taught it to their children and their children and their children. Now, both of these types of people were Israelites, but they just went down different paths. And that continued that way until the time of what we know as the New Testament. And at this point, those that kept the customs, or at least those whose forefathers had kept the customs, who were being called the circumcision, looked at the other Israelites whose forefathers had abandoned the customs as Gentiles, right? And so going back to what the Apostle Paul is saying is, say one of those individuals who's being considered a Gentile, take one of them, for example. And what he is saying is, for when the Gentiles which have not the law, because they're, in this case, for example, their forefathers left those ways. So this individual is born not even being aware, okay, of him being an Israelite and having to follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, right? So which have not the law do by nature the things contained in the law. So what's an example, right? Thou shalt not murder. It says kill in English, but in Hebrew is murder, right? Or certain other laws in the scriptures. And so by nature, this individual knows, you know what? I'm not going to, like, it just doesn't, something about it just doesn't feel right for me to just see this person and to kill them, for no apparent reason. So naturally, by nature, right, which have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the law. These, having not the law, are a law unto themselves, because their natural instinct would tell them, don't do this, which is similar to the law telling somebody, don't do this. But if by nature they know not to do it, it's kind of like them having the law without them having the law, because that's why the Apostle Paul said they are a law unto themselves. But the key part that he mentioned here was by nature. So what about nature makes it so this individual thinks, I don't want to go and commit murder, even though I don't know, or I don't have a law that says, I don't have I'm not aware of the laws in the scriptures that say don't commit murder. Just naturally within me, I know that it's wrong. I know not to do it. I know not to sleep with my mother or my father's son or my sister. That's not something you need to tell anybody, right, not to do. By nature, you don't look, even though your mother is a woman, and even though another man might see her, or your sister, another man might see her and think, damn, she's fine. You naturally don't even see your sister that way. But you'll see another woman that way. Somebody else's sister you'll see that way, right? See, because naturally, by nature, there's certain things that the Lord has instilled within us that are right and wrong, right? So taking it all full circle back to the connection of babies, because when you first come into the earth, you come from the spirit world. So they still have that, like, let's just say the residue of the spirit world upon them. They haven't yet been tainted or corrupted by the evil of this world, which as they grow, fills their vessel, less they're of the elect and they're being taught the right way. See, so even these children, when they saw their fathers without beards, something within them just let them know, no, that's not it. I'm not down with that. Okay. And like I said, that was very spiritual, going to show you, man, that, hey, number one, you're not supposed to be shaving off your beard. But number two, that shows you that connection, that natural law that exists within us and very heavily, even in babies. So some things, because you may not fully understand it, seem random to you that the child is doing, but there's a reason behind it. Sometimes they're just sitting there and they start laughing, or it looks like they're looking at somebody or trying to talk to somebody or trying to reach for somebody, but there's nobody in the room. Your baby's not psychotic, but there might be something that they're seeing that you're not, or something that they're sensing that you're not. Anyway, with that, I'm going to end it here. That was pretty much the point. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha, Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.